we head into the planer. We gotta change a cylinder, an air cylinder on my trim saw. It's a bunch of blades, 8 foot, 10 foot, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and one of those went bad. Tried to do it last week, but the cylinder I had to replace it was bad also. So I got one this week, and if we're lucky, we're gonna throw it on there. Should be pretty simple, but you know, stick around. Y'all haven't seen the planer yet, so this is cool. First video at the planer. It's kind of a big deal, I reckon. Give y'all somewhat of an inside of this, and I hope y'all enjoy. Stay tuned. We are at the trim saw. So this is where when the boards come through the planer itself, come to this deck. You have multiple blades that go up and down and cut them per length. They're split into 2 foot sections. On top of each saw has some air cylinders that lift the saws up and down, and our 14 foot is pretty well trashed. So we got another one that's been rebuilt by our cylinder guy here at the mill. We're just simply going to replace it. Pretty simple. It looks like hell, but believe it or not, she is freshly built. Should be a little 15-minute job. Throw it on and change it out and have her fixed. So let's get to it. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's always like doing some hardcore around here anytime you're working on something. It's like an American Ninja Warrior over here. Only problem is you don't fall into a pond full of water. Which one are you replacing? So 8, 10, 12, 14. This will be the one we will be replacing. Should just be able to turn our air off right here. Go ahead and grab a pipe wrench and also like a 3/8 Allen wrench. Charlie should have some in the back of his truck, so we'll have to be reusing this, which is just pressure adjustment valve. Alright. You more or less have a line of cylinders here. The all electric air valves with a switch panel at the operator station. And all these saws are up when the system's running. And obviously if you only cut an 8, you drop this saw 10, 12, 14, etc. Pretty simple little deal. Each one's got its own motor and each one's got its own cylinder. Where the hell did you get this thing from? Temu or something?
Harbor Freight, where we get a lot of our shit.
Jesus, this must be the cheapest one they had.
Yeah, you were there when I got it. You picked it out, Thomas.
Some dense aluminum, I'll tell you that.
You picked it out. Pretty much.
Touche. Charlie pries this board underneath here. Now you can see the nut and my brake loose. Lower it down just a little bit, Charles. Right there. Dang, Charles.
I can't see it there.
I mean, you act like you're struggling down there. It only weighs about 500 pounds. Watch this be 1.5 inches. This is 1.5 inches. Go get 1.5 inches out of Charlie's truck. And I do got the 7/8 for the top. I grabbed the wrong wrench. I ran out of talent. Sorry there, Charles. Don't hurt yourself down there. As you can see on the one we're putting in, pretty simple deal. You got a jam nut. And then you got right above it on the shaft itself, 2 flat spots fit a 7/8. You know, tighten all the way in and then tighten the jam nut and capiche. Thank you there, Sir Alan. Hell of a guy.
I picked up a couple lawns and one cutler.
Whoops.
It won't hit the ground. It's inside that trough.
Whoopsies. Had a little accident there. Alright, we get it loose here. Alright, let her down, Charlie.
I've been running them 33 years and it wasn't new when we put it in. It was probably 33 years old when we...
Well, how long you been running a planer?
35 years.
What year planer is the one you run over here? I know you run 2 planers.
46.
The first one I run was a 36 model, 1936.
What's the one that's running right here at this setup?
It's about a 1960. That over there is about a 1950.
Well, it works, so.
Yeah, this here's a little more. It's got a gear drive bed plate where that one doesn't.
Yeah. This is my uncle, which is also part ownership of the mill. He runs the planer. My dad runs the mill. And then their uncle runs the sales. But all 3 together have built a pretty fine operation here.
Trusty Charlie.
try to let's pull that rod out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. Give you something.
Started? I believe so. What was the old one doing? Just hanging up?
Blowing air so much.
Oh, I got you.
Just leaking so much air. Alright, y'all ready?
Yep.
It came all the way up. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Last time it wouldn't come up.
He must have rebuilt something, right?
Alright, let's go see when it go up and down like it's supposed to. See when a 14 go up and down.
See if we fixed her or not. I think it's working pretty good.
Let it up. Yep. Do it again. Let it up. I'll turn it down to 60. It was on 90. I don't like to run a lot of pressure on it.
Just a little bit.
They don't need to.
Yeah.
It's above the thing, so you know it ain't gonna rub on the saw, rub on the timber.
What's the next one that probably needs to be rebuilt?
10, 12, and 10.
It's just been a while since you've had to change the cylinder out, hasn't it?
I have never changed these cylinders out.
That's pretty good then.
They're
Maybe.
33 years old.
I mean, how many years you been doing this, you say?
Too many years. 35.
He got it figured out by now. Especially, I mean, you got to think, you're not going to bring no sawmiller to some planer, old ass planer like this and tell them to run it and then run it. Dying breed. And that's the other planer over there. But you like this planer better? You've been running this one?
Like
That's just, well, she mainly just does 8 baits over there.
One thing, when that one was built, they did it too tall.
well,
Oh, I know, but I'm saying the deck.
yeah, not only that, the feed table. Tommy talked to Daddy and them setting the feed table too far back, so an 8-foot piece falls down in there. You can't hardly feed 8-foot woman floors on it. I don't like it. And I don't like the way it runs. I was like this one.
Yeah, I don't blame you there then. If you know what you know. Especially been running something long enough, got it figured out. And he's pretty much in charge of all planer, checks the dryness of the lumber daily, gets the kiln figured out. And a planer more or less just turns rough boards into smooth boards. Gives it a nice shine. It just more or less is polishing a board in a way. It gives it a nice smooth finish where you can just run your hands across it. There's nothing sticking up. Nice smooth boards. So here's our trimmer guy here. How long you been running old trimmer, Danny? Talk to us a little bit.
Almost 7 years.
The only one here that can run it, correct? At the planer?
Me and Johnny.
No. But you're full time on it.
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah.
So anyway, and you run the other one over there too, correct? This is Danny. I'll tell you, you get guys like old Danny here and all these other men around here, you got yourself a hell of an operation. You can't just have any candy ass show up at a business like this because it will shut down. You gotta have some rough, tough sons of bitches. That's just all there is to it.
Yeah, you have to get dirty.
That's all there is to it. But we gotta have them. Leaving the old planer to get a grand tour of the new planer and look at some issues that my uncle has to deal with when he does these 8 baits in particular, which sucks because they're a huge seller and there are a lot of reasons we can stay afloat during the harder times. But end of the day, it's just it's been a battle dealing with them. This planer is a lot more precise than a sawmill. I mean, you can't just half-ass fine-tune shit over here. You've got to get it nuts. And if all your boards are different cuts and cutting too wide at the mill, then he has to fight that battle over here. We do 8 baits. We're only doing 2 sides at a time, but there's been talk of maybe trying to put, it's got top heads right now, or it's got side heads right now. And putting some top heads to do all 4. But when the planer man tells you, doesn't know exactly if it's going to work, you probably ought to
Measure how long your stub is.
probably roughly 3 7/8, 4 inches. So you're going to have over half of it sticking off the shaft.
Yeah, that was the problem with them. What it was so much
Stress
on the top bearing.
There's no way you can really make them shafts any longer, and it'll screw it up for the rest of the heads.
With 2 belts pulling, I can run about 50 to 60 foot a minute. That's got 1 belt pulling.
Yeah.
So how fast can I run?
Okay, probably not even much over half if you're lucky. When you do the 8 baits.
The top heads are on. I don't even run the side heads.
Okay, I got you. So when you do 8 baits, you do top and bottom, and you send it back through, and then you flip it. That's the deal. Man's been running 30-something years. Chances are he knows the equipment. From our end of things, you always got to take consideration of who's actually running it, who's the man of that show, and who knows about it more than anybody else. I appreciate you giving us a grand tour today. You gonna let us come do some more videos over here at some point? Crawford's already been hired on the planer side. He's been stuck in the shop living his best life, but Johnny is taking a liking to him. So maybe we can get some footage of him too.
What year did you come here? Remember? How old were you?
I was young.
I started there. You just out of high school, weren't you?
Yeah, just right high school, yeah.
About 20, 28.
Something like that when I came out here, yeah.
I remember as a kid coming over here, you're always one feeding the planer,
Yeah,
running the show
yeah.
on that end of the building.
Yeah.
I guess that says something about your boss man abilities here. If you got these guys in here for 20, 30 something years, you must be doing something all right. Hope y'all enjoyed this. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe, and God bless. On to the next.